What is up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about the best gaming smartphones for 2020. So let's go ahead and get started with the Asus ROG Phone 2. Now you can find this anywhere from 600 to, if you want the maxed out version, it's going to be like 900. This is an excellent smartphone. So you have an AMOLED display. It's a 6.5 inch 1080p display, 391 for the PPI. Now it actually is a 120 hertz display, so when you're gaming, this is very important. So the higher the refresh rate, the better and smoother it will look. You also have 240 hertz touch sensing, which is awesome as well. You have Android 9, and this is going to get Android 10 as well. You do have the Snapdragon 855 Plus, so extremely fast, along with the Adreno 640. Now you do not have expandable storage on here, and you have 128 gigs of storage. So I always thought that was a little weird for gaming phones. You want the maximum amount of storage, but hey, you do have 8 gigs of RAM on here, so plenty of RAM. And you have some respectable cameras on here, a 48 megapixel wide and 13 megapixel ultra wide. From what I've seen, takes pretty good photos, and it shoots at 2160p, 30 fps or 60 fps. Now you have a 24 megapixel front facing camera, which again is decent. You also have stereo speakers, which sound really loud and very crisp and clear. NFC is on board for mobile payments, as well as USB Type-C. The fingerprint scanner is under the display, and you also have a crazy 6,000 milliamp battery, so this phone will last pretty much forever. If you're really a light user and you just want to game casually, but you still want a powerful phone, this phone is a beast. But even if you're gaming, you're still gonna have really good battery life, 30-watt charging, so very fast charging. This phone is a overall beast. Next is going to be the Razer Phone 2. So you can find this phone for around actually $350, very cheap. This phone has a very premium design. It definitely looks like a gaming phone out of all these phones to me, but you have IP67 dust and water resistant. It is made out of an aluminum frame, so very sturdy design on here. You have an IPS display on here, 5.72 inch, so if you're into a little bit more compact for gaming, like I am, I really like kind of smaller phones sometimes. 1440p display, awesome. 513 for the PPI, 120 hertz on this guy as well. This is another really good smartphone. You do have Android 9 as well as the Snapdragon 845, but don't be fooled, the 845 is still capable of playing pretty much every game on high. The Adreno 630 is really good as well, so you can still game on this phone even though it's a little older. We do have micro SD support, as well as 64 gigs of internal storage and 8 gigs of RAM, so that's why I really love this phone. So it has really nice specs, and you do have a 12 megapixel camera and a 12 megapixel 2x optical zoom that shoots in 2160p. Now you do have an 8 megapixel selfie camera, and you also have dual speakers on this guy, which are very loud. This phone also comes equipped with NFC as well as USB Type-C. Now the fingerprint scanner is on the side of this phone, which I actually grown to love from using the S10e. You do have a 4000 milliamp battery with 18-watt fast charging, and you also have 15-watt wireless charging as well. So if you're trying to game on a budget, then this is a really good option. Next is the ZTE Nubia Red Magic 3. So you can pick this up for around $530. It is a excellent smartphone, one of my favorite on the list. So you do have an aluminum back, aluminum frame. You also have built-in cooling fan on here, as well as pressure sensitive zones. This does have a 6.65 inch AMOLED display. It is a 1080p display, 388 for the PPI. It is a 90 hertz display as well. You do have the Red Magic 2.0 OS with Android 9. Now this will be getting Android 10. Now you have the Snapdragon 855 and the Adreno 640. No expandable storage on this one, unfortunately. 64 gigs of storage and 6 gigs of RAM for the base model one. You do have 48 megapixel camera that shoots in 4320p at 15 fps, so pretty interesting there. And you do have a 60 megapixel selfie camera that shoots in 1080p. This one does have stereo speakers, which is awesome, and also you have no NFC on this guy, so that's kind of a trade-off. You do have USB Type-C. The fingerprint scanner is rear mounted, and you have a really nice big 5000 milliamp battery with 18-watt fast charging as well. So you kind of have the trade-offs on here, having that AMOLED display, and I just think the design looks really beautiful on this one. Now the Xiaomi Black Shark 2 Pro is next, and this is a really good smartphone you can pick up for around $550. So this has an aluminum frame, a very pretty design as well. You have an AMOLED display, 6.39 inches. It's a full 1080p, 403 for the PPI. You have 240 Hz touch sensing. Now you have Android 9. This will get Android 10. The Snapdragon 855 Plus is awesome on this, and you do have an Adreno 640. No expandable storage, but you do get 128 gigs of built-in storage, which I like, and 8 gigs of RAM. So you have respectable cameras on here, nothing too crazy. 48 megapixel wide, 12 megapixel telephoto, takes decent pictures at 2160p, 20 megapixel selfie camera, nice loud stereo speakers on here, no NFC, and you do have the fingerprint scanner under the display with a 4000 milliamp battery at 27 watt fast charging. So it's pretty interesting, the trade-off they did with this one, with no NFC and no expandable storage, but you do get that AMOLED display, which I love. Last is going to be the OnePlus 7 Pro. So this is my daily driver, the phone that I use every day, and this is an excellent phone for gaming. So you can pick this up for around $550. Now you do have the Fluid AMOLED display. It is a 90 Hz display, and it is 1440p, 516 for the PPI. A beautiful display, one of the best that you can get. You have a glass back, aluminum frame. You do have Android 10 on here with Oxygen OS, very fast, always gets updates. Snapdragon 855, Adreno 640. This can pretty much play any game you throw at it on high, no problem at all. You do not have expandable storage, but you have 128 gigs and 6 gigs of RAM, and I haven't found that I need extra storage really so far. You do have a 48 megapixel camera, a 8 megapixel telephoto, 16 megapixel ultra wide that shoots in 2160p, and you have that pop-up camera that shoots in 16 megapixels at 1080p. This is a pretty good camera phone. They've been updating it a lot, and it's been getting better. You can also slap Gcam on this and it'll be just fine. You do have stereo speakers, which aren't the loudest stereo speakers that I've heard, but they're pretty decent. You do have NFC as well. You do have a 4000 milliamp battery, and I'm usually getting around 8 hours of screen on time. So if you're doing hardcore gaming, you probably get around 6 to 7 hours of screen on time. So you do have 30 watt warp charge on here, which is very nice. So the phone charge is extremely fast. So one of my favorite phones. So thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one.